and mental health is something that we don't talk about enough. In the black community, well, we're massively overrepresented in the mental health institutions, even more so than in the prisons. And again, these are questions we have to ask. Well, why?
But once you get a control and an understanding of who you are, no one can use you against you. No one can ever use your mental illness against you. You've already spoke about it, so what you got?
The biggest point in life to resolve mental health is like giving a fuck about a person.
Where did you get the courage? I got the courage. The 2 words. I care.
It's Chill Will Radio, where connections will be made, advice will be given, jokes will be told, and things will get real. My name is Willis Cooks, and I'm your host. But understand this show is not meant to be used as a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. Enjoy the show, y'all. Yo. What's the deal? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another dope, fantastic episode of Chill Will Radio, man. And it is cold in the studio as always, because Didier don't know how to take off his sweater and wants to put on the AC and torture folks, but it is what it is. Thank you, Didier, for coming by as always, man. For those who are just now tuning in and don't know who Didier is, I always talk about this guy a lot. Didier is a not so fantastic individual who comes by every week, every Sunday, and video shoots and records these lovely episodes, that I am able to put together for Didier, man. So I appreciate him being consistent, him being disciplined, not only towards this, but towards his craft as well. Because I remember when we first started, Didier had one camera and one tripod, as far as I know, and like a little shade lamp thing, that because he's a photographer by trade and he's just now getting into videos, but he's been consistently building up his merchandise, I guess, his equipment. Now he has 2 cameras, 2 lights, 2 tripods, a suitcase that look like he can go traveling with, and a lot. But Didier is someone I appreciate, someone I could depend on when it comes to certain things, and it's a lot of people I can't depend on. Well, it's a lot of people I choose not to depend on. That's a better way of putting it. It's a lot of people I choose not to depend on, but I choose to depend on Didier because he's going to come through. And if he's not able to come through, he'll let me know. I always appreciate people when they tell me that they're not able to do something, just off top, instead of getting my hopes up. So, good looking, little ugly. I appreciate you. Yeah, no. But to everyone that's tuning in, good looking. If you're tuning in today, I appreciate that. If you're going to hear me tomorrow, next week, next month, appreciate that too as well. Tomorrow's Monday. For all those individuals who living out here in California, it is hectic right now because of this whole little coronavirus BS. And everything is being shut down except my job. And I work at hospitals, and they are not going to close hospitals. But it is what it is. But I hope tomorrow's able to go well, because Didier just informed me that the governor of California kind of just put out this memo that all bars and nightclubs and everything, need to close and shut down for like the time being. And that sucks, because tomorrow is supposed to be the podcast pit, right? And if it doesn't shut down, come through the podcast pit if you listening and you tuning in, man. Tomorrow, 7:30, down in that bar, downtown LA. If you're not in downtown LA, you're not able to, come through, that's okay. I'll figure out how I can get it to you and get it up there so the folks could actually listen and tune in. But anyway, how am I doing? What's going on with me and things of those sorts? I was speaking to, the group in here, Didier and my girl, about, work, and how today at work, not today, but there was a specific moment at work in which I feel like I kind of blacked out when I was getting cursed out by a patient, right? Not getting cursed out because, I did something wrong. I'm Willis. I don't do nothing wrong. But, when you're working in the helping profession and you're dealing with certain people who are, psychotic, you get cursed out sometimes just for, being there. Your presence. So, this individual was cursing me out, calling me all types of bitches, and I don't know how to do my job, and blah, blah, blah. this is my first time saying this person, but it's okay. I'll take the heat. Normally, what I would say is like, hey, sir, you're cursing. If you continue to curse at me and disrespect me, this conversation is going to end. And if they continue to curse, obviously, I would just walk away. This specific time, however, I kind of just sat there and looked at the guy. And it was kind of strange for multiple reasons. But one reason was kind of strange because what was the... Did I black out while I was listening to him? What was I being mindful of? You know, is that a different type of tactic I should use when it comes to, you know, working with people and things of those sorts? Because within this field and within, you know, just any other field in general, but particularly within this field, you learn how to not take being called a bitch seriously. Like, you learn how to not take being called something terrible, you know, personally. Like, I've been called all sorts of bitches. I've been called niggers. I've been called any and every negative word you could think of. Like, I am black. I've been called a cracker. Like, I've been called a lot of like reckless stuff. And you understand how to not take anything personal because you begin to think like, okay, that person is coming from a specific place. So he's not taking, you're just in the area in which his frustration is coming out at. It's not at you. It could have been at anybody. You know, you just happen to be here. Wrong place, wrong time type of thing. And it just happened to be you. You know, and that's something that I would thoroughly challenge a lot of people to kind of start to practice is when people are coming at you in a negative way and you believe it's for no reason at all and you're starting to get pissed off and irritated, walk away if you're able to. But always understand that person is coming from somewhere else, right? So his anger is not geared, it's not a personal attack on you. You just so happen to be in the way, right? Because if it was any other random person who was there, they would have got that work just like you got the work, you know. But outside of that, the week has been really good. I've been preparing for this podcast pit. I've been preparing for a lot of the other things I have doing and coming up. And this whole little coronavirus thing is like, it's getting very frustrating and aggravating because certain things are shut down. Like, I was supposed to have a skydiving competition this weekend. I'm not having that at all because they shut that down, and I was like excited for that for like a good 2.5 months. Like, that shit was terrible, you know. So, but it kind of is what it is, you know. They shutting, like I said, they're shutting everything else down: bars, schools, restaurants, everything except my job. So it is what it is. But moving on forward into the self-care piece, right? So the one self-care piece I want everyone to implement within their self-care regimen is for you to make a good shit list, right? Make a good shit list, right? We all have our shit list when it comes to people, right? You're someone I don't rock with, you are someone I'm not really messing with, or things like that, or certain things that we feel as if we could improve on. Like, hey, this is my shit list and I need to improve on this and that and that and this. Make a good shit list, right? Make a good list, right? Of something that you did superb, of something that you surprised yourself of something that, you know, you actually accomplished and overcame. The reason why is because we always kind of put our accomplishments to the back seat as if like this is just what it is. And granted, I have a huge problem with that when it comes to not giving myself the credit that I feel like I deserve. When it comes to the things that I've accomplished, right? I put everything in the back seat, right? And I just move as if this is something that I was supposed to do, so why do I need to celebrate? And that's not a good thing at all, because when you're not celebrating your wins, you in turn begin to celebrate your losses, because you have to focus on something, right? You have to focus on something. So you're going to stick to that one thing that you were not able to accomplish. Stick to that one thing that you failed at, because you're going to stick to that one thing that you failed at, because that's something that you kind of put heavy on yourself. That's a burden that you're putting on yourself. When it comes to, you know, our accomplishments and things of those sorts, we look at that as this is what I'm supposed to do. Let me win this, boom, and then keep it moving. The loss is just like, I'm not supposed to lose. I was supposed to do this and blah, blah, blah. When in reality, it's just like a lot of us aren't supposed to do anything, right? There's no life manual that's stating that you're supposed to do this or you're supposed to do that. A lot of things just happen just because. Well, I believe that a lot of things just happens just because, along with certain things that we plan out, along of, our work ethic and how much energy we put towards certain things, but when it comes to your accomplishments and when it comes to creating your good shit list, you can do it for you can separate it in many ways, right? You can separate it in terms of my good shit list for the day, my good shit list for the week or for the month or whatever it is. But I would highly recommend that you do it for the day, right? Go day by day and look at everything that you did good today, right? Maybe you did good on that note that you were supposed to do. Maybe you did good at work. Maybe you did good at going to the gym, right? Maybe you actually went to the gym, right? Because you're never going to regret a drive back from the gym, but you will regret a drive not to the gym. Well, a drive not to the gym. You're not going to the gym. You get what I'm saying? But make that good shit list of something that you've done good that day, even if it's just one thing, because a lot of us have terrible days. A lot of us wake up and it just goes down the drain, like, period, right? Find the one thing within that good day, so that way you can be able to focus on something, right? You can be able to start to teach yourself how to pick out the positive things within the negative, right? I believe being optimistic instead of pessimistic is a learned ability, right? I believe it's not something that people just innately have. It's not a specific trait. I believe it's something that you learn along your life, right? People could put it on you and then you can get out of it, or you can get into it by just focusing on a lot of the negative things that happen in our life, right? So if we're trying to learn how to be a little bit more optimistic, right, for every negative we got to throw a positive, right? And it's going to get tough and it's going to get real tricky, especially when life begins to throw us all of the negative things, right? This day was negative, yesterday was negative, this morning, last night, I had a bunch of negative coworkers, my friends is getting on my nerves, my girlfriend is tripping, and it's just like, we have all of these negative things going on in our world, and we don't know how to pick anything out because all we see is negative stuff, all we see is dark things. But when you make yourself a good shit list and you're able to just pick and actually commit yourself to picking at least one good thing throughout the day, what's going to happen is it's going to be a little easier to find the positive things. When it's easier to find the positive things, you're going to begin to notice that your thought process is shifting, right? You're going to begin to notice that you're going from that pessimistic person who has all these negative thoughts to that more of being an optimistic person who has a lot of positive thoughts, right? Always remember, negative and positive thoughts, it's not about getting rid of your negative thoughts. It's more so about counteracting, those negative thoughts, right? Throwing something in there, right? To kind of shake it up, to make sure it gets all mixed up. Because if I throw one pen in a bucket full of crayons, the bucket full of crayons, let's say, would be the negative thoughts. The bucket full of crayons is going to overshadow that one pen, which would be the positive thoughts, right? But if I just throw a bunch of positive thoughts in there, right, soon that one pen, which is the positive thoughts, is going to take over those negative thoughts, which would be the crayons, right? So every negative thing, throw something in there positively to make sure you counteract it. But like I said, it's tough when you have a day full of negativity and that's all you know how to look at. So learn how to create and find the positive stuff. That could be done by creating a good shit list, right? Every day, find one thing within that day that you did good. It could be something as small as making up my bed, or getting to work on time, or, I don't know, tying your shoes. So whatever it is, it could be very, very small. I think a lot of the times we get in this place of thinking that our good deeds or the things that we do positively throughout the day, there's something that has to be like grand and big and noticeable, between like my coworkers and things like that. And that's never the case, and that should not be the case, right? Because if we start to do good things strictly based off of the accolades or the admiration or whatever I'm going to get from my peers or from, you know, people within my circle. We're not doing those good things for the sake of doing it. And then that good thing, we're just going to fall off of doing good things because it was never in us to do it. It was just in us to do it for you instead of doing it for yourself. Right? So let's get in the habit of finding those minute good things. Making up your bed. You might brush your teeth once a day. The fact that you're brushing your teeth twice a day. You know, the fact that you lotioned your crusty feet. Like, whatever it is. Like, take time to notice the good things within your life. Even if it's something small like taking a shower, right? Because it's hard for certain folks to take showers, especially if you're someone who deals with depression, right? Take a shower, you know. So the self-care piece that I want everyone to implement within their self-care regimen. Make a good shit list. Make a daily good shit list. A daily list of all of the good things that you did that day. And make sure that you put small things on that list. So that way you can learn how to find the positive things within the negative stuff that you have within your life. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be one simple thing. All right. So moving on forward into the main topic. Of the show. All right. The thing I want to be mindful, the thing I want to talk about today is making sure that we are mindful of what we take in, right? And the reason why that's important for me to talk about today is because this week, especially this week with this whole little raggedy coronavirus thing, you start to see how the media has a pulse on people's anxiety, a pulse on people's stress. Right? You start to see how the media could control how you're feeling based upon the attention that they're putting on a specific subject or topic or person or event or whatever. And a lot of people, especially here in LA, like, are extremely stressed out. Right? Not even just the fact that they think they're going to get it. Stressed out is, I think I need to be ready. I need to get this food. I need to go here. My job isn't open anymore and all of these things. And I got to wear a mask. And, you know, all of these organizations, these jobs are taking all of these precautions. And it's just like way too much. And you begin to see how people's energies are shifting. People's mindsets, a little bit, yeah, is shifting because of the attention that's being put out there. Because of how big this thing is right now. Right? So I want to make sure we speak about being mindful of what you take in and how you take in and as how much are you taking certain things in, right? One of the things that we have to be mindful of is obviously the circle, right? Create the circle that you want, right? If you hang around, I believe this saying says that if you hang around 10 dumb people, you're going to be the 11th, or 10 broke people, you're going to be the 11th. Whatever the case is, if you hang around a bunch of people that are doing things that you are naturally not accustomed to, you're going to be doing that one thing, right? If you hang around a bunch of people who work out every day, you're going to either begin to work out or you're going to distance yourself away from that group, right? If you're hanging around a bunch of people who are very business minded and business savvy, you're going to begin to be business savvy yourself, or you're just going to get away from that group. If you're around a bunch of people who smoke, you're going to begin to start smoking, or you're just going to get away from that group, right? Whatever it is going on within your circle, you're going to become that circle. But the thing is, you could also pick the circle that you want to have, right? If you want a circle that, and this isn't something that I would recommend people to do, but if you want a circle of people that's going to boost your ego, you could create that. If you want a circle of friends that's going to be very accountable and on your ass, you could create that. If you want a circle of toxic and traumatic people within your life, you could create that. And a lot of us create the circle of toxic and traumatic people. You know, a lot of us create that circle because we are dependent on the negative stuff. We are dependent on getting, the negative things from that person because it makes us feel important, right? You ever come across a person who always feels like they need to fix everyone's problems, right? That person needs to fix everyone else's problems because it makes them feel important. It makes them feel needed. It makes them feel wanted. It makes them feel as if people love them and care for them, right? There are people like that who are attracted to all of these things so that way they can feel better for themselves, right? So that's kind of saying the circle that you are creating says a lot about who you are, says a lot about what you want to become, says a lot about where you see yourself at that moment, because if you create a circle of negative people that aren't really doing anything beneficial towards your life, then that's probably how you see your life. But if you create a circle of people who are bringing wisdom and who are bringing inspiration and motivation and all of these powerful and wonderful things to your life, that's what you see yourself as, right? Create the circle that you feel as if you need, and then that circle that you create, see what type of circle it is. See how big it is, see how small it is. The thing is, it doesn't need to be big, right? It could be one or two little people, 3 or 4 people, or 3 or 4 things, whatever it is. Does not need to be big, but we need to be mindful of that. That goes into the second point of don't be afraid to block shit out, right? Don't be afraid to block shit out, like, at all. For me, I absolutely hate watching these police brutality videos, like, to the max, right? Because it's a trigger for me. It gets me angry. It pisses me off, and it pisses me off for a number of reasons. But for me, it's that's a fear of mine, not a fear that, like, yo, I'm going to die, but a fear that I'm going to do something to the police that will cause me to die. Because as a kid, as a teenager, adolescence, I've always been that individual to advocate against bullshit. Especially if you're someone who I feel is in power and you're abusing your power. Oh yeah, I'm on your ass, right? I'm on your ass regardless. So, like, I would literally, like, spit on police because I feel like you're doing too much. I would fight police all the time because I feel like you're doing too much. I'm honestly really, really surprised that I haven't been in jail more times than I did for all of the stupid stuff that I've done to police. Like, I've urinated in police officers' cars before, and a lot of this is just because I was a stupid kid, but also a lot of it is because, like, I see that you're doing something negative, so I'm finna make you feel negative for doing something that way. So for me, if I'm in the area, or if I see a police officer doing something negative to a person, it doesn't have to be a black, white person or anything like that, but if I see a police officer doing something negative to a person, my first thought isn't to pull out my phone and record like a lot of people do. My first thought is to go up and intervene and do something and talk. And if that causes me to get into it with the police, then in my mind, it is what it is. So be it, because these videos, we just see people recording and not doing anything and say, oh, that's sad and police is messed up and blah, blah, blah. It's like, stop recording, step up and say something, So because of that, I block shit out. Like, when it comes to, like, police brutality videos, I block them all out. When it comes to, like, certain, like, advocators or people on Instagram who post a lot of those, I don't follow them and I block them because I don't want none of their material popping up on my thing. Same with you, right? If you have certain stuff on your Instagram page that you don't like, block it out. If you have certain people within your life that you're not really trying to rock with, block them out, right? Same with this whole little coronavirus thing. Stop people in their tracks before they even talk about it. As soon as you hear them say corona, say skirt, stop. Not today. No. You have to put a guard, a boundary around you so you can be mindful of what gets past that boundary, so you can be mindful of what comes in you, right? Because you don't want to be that individual that's just allowing everything in, because it's going to cause you, one, to not have time for yourself, but also two, you're going to be taking in all of the energy from all these other people. Then you're going to be extremely stressed, you're going to be extremely anxious, and you're going to be stuck and wondering why you're going to be this way, so it can get very, very tough, extremely, extremely tough, right? So be mindful. Be mindful, but don't be afraid to block things out. Don't be afraid to cut things out. It's okay. You're not a negative person for doing that. But also, the other thing that's probably way more important than the other two that I just noticed is these daily check-ins with yourself, right? right? I don't think we do that enough. I don't think we sit back and ask ourselves, how am I doing? I don't think we ask ourselves, how am I doing? Willis, what's going on with you today? Willis, your energy shifted a little bit at this moment. Why? Willis, how far has your energy shifted? Willis, what were you thinking about today? Willis, how are you doing? Willis, are you feeling extremely different from the moment you woke up? Are you feeling happier? Are you feeling a little sadder? Is your mood a little lower right now? Have these check-ins with yourself, right? Daily check-ins, hourly check-ins, have little points within your day. I'm checking with myself in the morning, in the afternoon, when I get off of work, before I go to bed, or when I'm at the gym, whatever it is. It's important to have these check-ins with yourself so you can see where you're at, so you can be mindful of your meter, right? That's why a lot of us kind of just black out, because things boil over, because we're not mindful of our meter. We're not checking in with ourselves to see where our meter is at. Now, if a lot of us begin to check in with ourselves more often, we're going to begin to see where our meter is at, and then we're going to see like, yo, I don't need to black out. I need to take a step back and take care of myself before I black out, before I do something that can cause me my job, cause me, to be in jail, or whatever the case is, right? Have these daily check-ins with yourself, and these are thoroughly important. And that's something I don't think a lot of us do too often, right? I do it. I do it within the conversations that I have in my car with myself, or talk to myself, and that's something I definitely challenge you to do for yourself. So when it comes to us as a whole, being mindful of what we take in, right? Be mindful of the circle that you are around, or be mindful of the circle that you're trying to create. Don't be afraid to block things out. Don't be afraid to block things out. Cut people off, cut things off, delete stuff, block and delete, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to block things out, but also have a daily check-in with yourself. If you're not checking in with yourself on a daily basis, then you're going to look up and realize that your meter is on 1,000, and you're going to black out on the first person you see who looked at you the wrong way. And that's something that we definitely don't want to happen. Okay? So moving on forward into the question that I have for you all, right? When it comes to being mindful of what we take in, how mindful are you of what you put out? How mindful are you of what you put out? When it comes to your energy, when it comes to your words, when it comes to your thoughts, when it comes to your moods, when it comes to anything, the work you do, how mindful are you with the things that you put out? How mindful are you with the things that you put out? That's thoroughly important, because we don't want to be putting out bullshit. We don't want to be putting out negativity. We don't want to be putting out all this bad stuff, right? It's important to be mindful of what's going in, but the stuff that's going in is going to have to come out. And if we're spitting out a bunch of BS all day, every day, then maybe I have a bunch of BS inside. If you're not sure where your energy is at, or if you shifted or not, look at what you've done that day. Were you cursing people out? Were you a little angrier today? What were you putting out into the world? Was you a little tense all day? What were you putting out into the world? And if you see and become mindful of the things that you're putting out into the world, you begin to be mindful of the things that you're taking in, because you begin to understand it's something negative in me that's causing me to behave this way. It might be a person, it might be an object, it might be something on my chest that I need to get off. Whatever the case is, you begin to be mindful of all of that, right? So just as we all should be mindful of what we're taking in, be mindful of what you're putting out, whether it's your words, whether it's your energy, whether it's your behavior, whatever it is. Be mindful of what you take in, and you damn sure better be mindful of what you put out, right? So to all those individuals who are listening, tuning in, and all that good stuff, man, good looking, shout out to you too. And as always, not even as always yet, but yo, if you're here in LA, come out to the podcast pit. I really hope we're able to do this, and this whole coronavirus thing don't cause us to shut down a podcast pit. They already shut down NBA, and it's crazy. It's so frustrating. Anyway, come out to the podcast pit at the Down in That Bar tomorrow, 7:30. It's going to be popping. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good look. So as always, Understand, ain't no wealth without your mental health. So please stay blessed. Take care of yourself. Be great. Peace.